So there's another Joe Biden issue that I wanted to broach here. It's kind of another thing, kind of similar to the abortion issue. It's another situation where it's just his greatest hits of being a jackass and saying and doing stupid things. So obviously, many of you know about his kind of inappropriate touching of other women, and acting like a creep, and being really fucking weird. And he decided to, so in this case, this is obviously another example of it, but he's doubled down on kind of being that gropey, creepy, handsy, Uncle Joe kind of guy. And he did that in the past. So he obviously got accused of doing that with Lucy Flores, who was a former Bernie surrogate from 2016. And she was running for lieutenant governor, and then she asked for Biden's support, and Biden kind of to come and do rallies for her and stuff in Nevada, because she's from Nevada. And she said she felt awkward. She felt awkward about how, how he was kind of coming up behind her, rubbing her shoulders, touching her neck, breathing down her neck, kissing her hair or neck, whatever. So this article is from the Washington Examiner. It's titled, "Biden Places Hands on Girl 10 Years Old and Tells Her You're Good Looking." It says, during a campaign event in Texas, Joe Biden told a 10-year-old girl that, quote, "I'll bet you're as bright as you are good looking," end quote, before taking her by the hand to present her to the press and standing behind her with his hands on her shoulders. Excuse me. It says the former vice president was speaking at an American Federation of Teachers town hall in Houston on Tuesday when he took a question from a young girl who identified her as BB. That's probably not the kind of name you want, since that's Benjamin Netanyahu's nickname, but okay. And said she was 10. Reading from a piece of paper, she read her question. "We are the United States of America, not the divided states of America. I bring this up because Texas has many ethnic groups living here. What do you intend to do to project a message of unity because of the current message we are receiving and dividing people?" It says, Biden grinned and said, "You are very good. How old are you?" He then told her that, "When I was your age, kiddo, at 10 years old, I stuttered so badly I could hardly talk." After talking about how his stutter was incredibly debilitating, he recommended people watch the King's speech and hailing the girl's courage. I'm guessing he means MLK. And then he says he then gave a nearly 4-minute answer about why he was running for president, white nationalism, and immigration. He then turned to the girl and said, "I'll tell you what, honey, what I'm going to do if you give me an address, I'm going to write you a longer answer and tell you the exact things I would do, okay? Okay, I promise. A promise? I'll bet you're as bright as you are good looking. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. What's your favorite subject?" When her teacher said journalism, he joked, "Oh, whoa, I'd better be more circumspect in my answers." Taking the girl by the hand, he took her to the back of the hall and indicated the reporters, Washington Post, New York Times, all those guys, you go back. He stood behind the girl, keeping his hands on her shoulders as he spoke. "By the way, that's one of the things that's dangerous. They'll tell you, I'm not always their favorite subject, but the truth of the matter is the reason we are who we are is called a free press. Continue to denigrate." What are they talking about? It says, after Biden returned to the front, the announcer told the girl, "You're going to get an internship from the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC," and Biden interjected, if that doesn't work, come work for me." Yeah, I'm sure she'd want that. Let me play the clip of this kind of exchange, I guess. So, I guess this is like more than halfway through the event. So check it out here. Almost halfway through the event, I think. Yeah, a little bit more than halfway. So here it is. Check it out.
But I tell you what, honey, what I'm going to do, if you give me an address, I'm going to write you a longer answer and tell you the exact things I would do, okay? Okay, promise? I'll bet you're as bright as you're good looking. I tell you. I tell you what. What's your favorite subject?
Journalism, like.
Journalism? Whoa! Whoa, I better be more circumspect in my answers. Those guys back there. Look, come here. Come here. Go ahead, the next question.
I love it. Okay, over here.
This? Washington Post, New York Times, all these guys. You ought to go back and talk to them, okay? All right? And by the way, that's one of the things that's a dangerous idea. You know, as these guys will tell you, I'm not always their favorite subject. But the truth of the matter is, the reason we are who we are is called a free press. Continuing to denigrate is dangerous. That's the guy you want to talk to, okay? A letter underneath. Somebody take her back to meet the press.
I love it.
Sorry.
You're going to get an internship from the Washington Post, from the New York Times.
And if that doesn't work, come work for me.
MSNBC.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that was kind of typical Joe Biden. For some reason, he likes to stand behind women and kids a lot. For some reason, this girl didn't look that uncomfortable. There's a picture of her. It's like a screenshot of her here. I mean, she looks okay. I don't know. She looks like she's dealing with it decently, but I mean, that can be a little, obviously that can be really weird for little kids. There's other little kids that have, obviously been in those situations with Biden, and he's, obviously acted really creepy around them. And some women, some girls, he's like grabbed them under their like right under their like breast area. It's really, really creepy. So yeah, he's just like, he doesn't know how to act around girls. He doesn't know how to act around women. And honestly, I think a lot of the people that have made excuses for him where they said like, oh no, he didn't do anything wrong, I totally wasn't uncomfortable. Those are the only people that are like, so like, for example, I think one of them was the wife of Senator Chris Coons. He's from, I think, Connecticut. Is he Connecticut or somewhere in the East Coast? And his wife was standing there. No, that was his kids. No, I'm sorry. It was Ash Carter. Ash Carter is the former. Yeah, I'm sorry. Ash Carter was the former attorney general for under Obama, and then, he was giving a speech, and then his wife was standing there. Supposedly, she was very nervous, and then he was standing behind her and making her feel more comfortable, I guess. And he was standing behind her, and then you could just see the look on her face. She's like just kind of looking. It looked like he was looking at him weird, and then everybody kind of like uses that picture as like a meme to mock Biden and how he's creepy and stuff. So but that woman, so the woman of Ash Carter's wife, I forgot her first name, but she said no, it's totally okay. She, I wasn't uncomfortable. He was making me feel comfortable, and I never thought the vice president was doing anything creepy and stuff like that. So I mean, so my point is that the reason I believe that woman specifically didn't say anything that was that was anything like kind of like criticizing Biden was because she knew that it wouldn't make him look good, and it would be like, so I mean, her husband is obviously the attorney general. Obviously it wouldn't look too good for her to be shitting on the vice president, who is the vice president to the president, who is the boss of Ash Carter, who's the attorney general. So I mean, I think she just kind of realized like, okay, let me not say anything because it's gonna make him look bad, and it's gonna make my husband look bad, and it's gonna make his boss look bad, in that case Obama. So I just think it was a matter of like that person just being told to like, don't say anything because it's it won't benefit anybody. So that's just my theory, though. I could be wrong. That's just what I believe, because it's, there's a lot of other women who have come out and obviously said that he did inappropriate things. So unless he didn't do as inappropriate things to that woman, to Ash Carter's wife, as he did with other women. That's possible. I don't really know, but because I don't know what those, because there's a bunch of those, like 2 or 3 other women that came out accusing Biden after Lucy Flores did, who was the first person to do it. And so, yeah, but I mean, it's just like, it's clear that Biden just doesn't really, he doesn't know any kind of like decorum or like ways of just like acting like not creepy. And he keeps putting himself in these positions. And honestly, his polling numbers, from what I've heard, his polling numbers have been dropping pretty badly lately. I think it's mostly like national polls. I don't think it's like specific state to state polls, because obviously state to state polls are much different in regard to like, in regard to being like, he's like, let's say if he's, he's more popular in like, South Carolina than he is in, Texas or California or something, stuff like that. So that kind of stuff can, that kind of stuff tends to happen. But yeah, his poll numbers are not doing well. I don't know if that has to do with him, being gropey, Uncle Handsy Joe. I don't know if that's because of it, but that can't be helping him. So these kind of situations, they definitely aren't a benefit to him. So when it comes to these kind of things, I think it's just, I mean, listen, man, avoid getting, if I were Biden, just avoid getting behind any woman, let alone any child, and just like rubbing their shoulders, let alone making jokes about it. So it's like, man, it's so many things are happening with Joe Biden when it comes to these, him being like a creep and stuff. Like, you almost can't keep track of it. It keeps, like, different things keep happening. Same shit, It's just like a different day in the same kind of similar incident. So it's hard to keep track sometimes. But I mean, that's just, it shows that he obviously doesn't have any self-awareness, and he keeps doing the same things again and again, and he keeps looking like an idiot. So, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty weird.